a.m. in the morning. Maybe I'm a little bit more energetic tonight than I was last night. Woo, that was a late night too. Busy day. So here we are on August 6th, 2026, and it's just oh gosh, my phone, it's been ringing off the hook, and let's see if I can charge it so I don't lose you. And we are on 2,194 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, taken downstairs to the arms room in building 2479 on Fort Bliss, and they took his life there. They took his life. He fought hard. We have information that one of the perpetrators, he uh, kicked, punched, whatever, right in the smacker, right in the teeth, and they deserved it, right? They deserved it. And they had to have um, emergency dental surgery afterwards. And anyway, but Richard lost his life, and they desecrated his body, and they trafficked it to Mexico for disposal. And that's just the beginning, because of course they wanted to smear him, and they told lies, and like the liar Joe Moody, like the liar Joe Moody. Gosh, what a liar. Y'all, please vote him out. He is such a liar, but of course, you got all that fuel money and trafficking money, the fuel theft money, the huachicol, and the trafficking money that um, you know whatever they do to put him in office, because he's such a liar, right? He's such a liar. Um, and he's the one that went there with all the evidence about Michael Mayella, everything that we have been exposing about the Walmart mass shooting, the whole setup, the misuse of victims' funds. Oh, that's it. That's why he's such a liar, because everything that the evidence shows in the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting also involves the fraudulent distribution of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds, which was over $12 million, $12 million that Westar Bank had, and he works for Westar Bank, and that they distribute to individuals that weren't even qualified to get that money. And that is a fact. We have hard evidence on that, and that was being investigated, and that's why there was so much turbulence in the DA's office. And they are um, work chaotically, but that gives us evidence, right? Because they get messy. They get very messy, and there's just a lot of they leave a lot of trash trail behind of their criminality. And so, in 6 years, we've been able to get hard evidence that absolutely confirms what the investigation was trying to establish for the people, that the Westar Bank was fraudulently distributing the Walmart mass shooting victims funds to people that did not qualify for those funds. And it was a lot of funds, it was a lot of money. So, a lot of fraud there. And of course, that goes along with the fraud of the Walmart mass shooting narrative, the false narrative that they keep pushing. And with 7 years later and all of this evidence, and who goes there, so many people were very, very careful this year to watch what they say. But Joe Moody, I don't know where he got his degree, but he went there. He went there, and is that now? My question is, what he just did with pushing that false narrative against President Trump, was that aiding and abetting a foreign terroristic organization, a specially designated globalist terrorist organization? Is that what he just did? I really want to know if that was what he just did, because to me it seemed like that's what he's doing, that he's aiding and abetting. He is absolutely protecting, because West Star Bank is Paul Foster, right? Is Woody Hunt, is Alejandro de la Vega Foster. And we know that they are El Paso Cartel. We know that they are in alliance with foreign terroristic organizations and specially designated globalist uh, terroristic organizations. So, and if he's protecting that, then, is that giving aid and comfort to those that are attacking our national sovereignty, our national security, because he's doing that over and above his constituents, which includes our son, a U.S. Army soldier, with many other U.S. Army soldiers, but blocking our investigation, the investigation, and also the contributing to the viciousness of the negotiations for the repatriation of our son's remains that are in Mexico. So, what Joe Moody does, sorry, it gets me a little bit ruffled to see such a liar aid and abet fuel thieves, child traffickers, drug traffickers, weapon smugglers, arms, well, Fast and Furious, right? And money launderers, thieves, absolute thieves, and manipulators of the election that we have in our country, our elections. Yeah, and he pockets the money, right? He pockets the money. He works for West Star Bank, and he works as a representative for Texas. So yeah, I think yeah, he is up to no good when it comes to these vicious terroristic organizations. Really. I think he's just up to no good. So, I hope that you spread that around, that he is protecting terroristic organizations rather than the victims of the Walmart mass shooting, right? And the victims of the whistleblowers, and also U.S. Army soldiers. Um, and of course, his constituents that are there. Yeah, and eight eight Mexican nationals that were killed. One of them, and also a German national that was killed. Yeah, I feel like he is. He just did a real no no, a real no no, and he must be up against the wall. He must be up against the wall. Think about what they must have on him for him to do such a terrible thing. Such a terrible thing. Yeah. Uh it is really crazy to even think about it. Let's see if I'm on. Yep. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on so late. I can see you now. Thank you so much. So that is the big news. It's not breaking news. It happened a couple days ago, because of the Walmart mass shooting 7-year anniversary. And yeah, and we were absolutely doing everything that we can to make sure that the real narrative was out there, enough of the debunking, that they wouldn't go there, that they would not be continue the lies, right? That they would not we were really helping them out. We didn't want them to aid and abet terroristic organizations, okay? Because that's exactly what's going on here. And just to either stay silent or to do their job. Even staying silent is aiding and abetting, right? Even staying silent is. It's just um especially for a Texas representative. It's, you know, um, it's negligence. It really is gross negligence what they are doing to obstruct the justice in Richard's case and so many others, the victims' cases, to get to the truth about what happened so that they can have also closure for what they have suffered. So, gosh, he just what a liar. What a liar. I had to put it out there for West Star Bank. Okay. Um the other thing is Maru Campos, she's looking pretty haggard. She's really it's the fall of Maru Campos, the El Chapo fentanyl governor of Chihuahua, Mexico. And, empathetic to, um, you know, um, that working hard can make you look tired, but she's looking worse. She's looking very, very haggard, and her evil eyes speak volumes, right? And they just hold no tears. They hold no remorse at all. The remorse is dry. There is nothing there. And so, she cries out that, oh, they're targeting her. It's kind of like Fauci, right? Fauci's crying out, "Oh, my life is at risk. They're threatening me." Well, turn it in. Turn in your complaints, right? Turn in your complaints into the system. But it's just it's kind of biblical, right? Because they build these big traps, right? And they themselves fall in it, right? They themselves fall into their own trap. And President Scheinbaum, she's a Mexican president. She just did something so wonderful today that really, really helps our case. And she just, played the little violin for Maru Campos and said, look, this is not politics. This is about national security. And this is national security, and meaning that she violated the Mexican sovereignty, and she um, attacked national security. She violated national security. She worked against it. I want to say attacked because she has her secret payroll where she has intelligence agents, foreign intelligence agents on her secret payroll, right? And two of them, two CIA agents, were just killed in an ambush. And then she tried to cover it up and tamper with the whole thing. And we haven't even touched on all of the other crimes when it comes to Plenitude Crematorium, Narco Crematorium, the embezzling, the other parts of the secret payroll, just on and on, the treasonous treaty with Governor Abbott. We could go on and on with her leaking of CBP information to the cartel, her actions in our son's case to obstruct justice in our son's case. We can just go on and on and on about her really evil deeds. And it's glorious to see President Scheinbaum say, look, this is not about politics. This is about national security, meaning this is about crime that you committed. And, there is a huge chance here, and I'm not speaking for President Scheinbaum right now, but there is a huge chance we're getting closer and closer and closer that I think she lost her immunity and that Maru Campos lost her immunity. And that means she absolutely can go at least to prison. It could be 40 years, it could be 46 years because she also misused the flag, right? And they need to uphold that because with this treasonous treaty acting for the sovereignty of Mexico when she had no place to do that, no authority to do that. So it's all coming back to her. Her crimes are coming back to her. And, thank God that things have changed now. And there is a good chance we have to hold her accountable for what she did. And it looks like President Scheinbaum is very serious about doing just that. So, our sharing and sharing and sharing, your sharing and sharing and sharing is helping all that. It is putting pressure on the Mexican government to do the right thing. And just like in the United States, we have to pressure our government to do the right thing. So, they work for us. They work for us. And that's why we need to do our part to make sure that they are working for us. So that is big news. And then, of course, the alien terrorist removal court just filed their first case. And I'm just really happy about that because now these transnationals, let's just take Mario Raskin Ortiz. He is illegally in this country, faking it, right? Getting taxpayer funds, $500,000 plus a year, right? Because of Ricardo Samaniago signing his paychecks for that, for the chief medical examiner. That's aiding and abetting. Even in the whole Walmart case, is just he's very involved in that, and of course our son's case, and um, he can lose his he's not naturalized because y'all they go through this, but their paperwork is kind of like Bill Hicks. They don't qualify because they don't fill in the paperwork properly. They cheat. And when you go through Mario Raskin Ortiz, he promised things that he could not deliver in order to get his visa. He broke the agreement. The visas are broken. Therefore, everything about him being in the United States is botched. And of course, he's connected to the cartel. We know that. And so his status in the United States or his illegal status in the United States can be really exposed now easier. And of course, this whole alien terrorist removal court, because he's been absolutely aiding and abetting the terroristic organizations, they can absolutely um, remove him from his position. So we need to do our job on that one too and make sure that we stick a big red flag into Mario Rascon Ortiz so that the investigators for the Alien Terrorist Removal Court can do their job. And of course, uh, all this is on the up and up, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We want him removed. We want him to removed legally, so that there is a legal record um, that will prevent him from maybe appealing it or something. So okay, gosh, where do I go when I want to talk about Lisa Weiss? Lisa Weiss, of course, she is in charge of the El Paso election. And now we know that in the Rio Grande Valley, there there is a county there. There's a couple counties there that 15 Texas officials have been indicted for voter fraud. That means interference and tampering with the election. And this is including city council members and a Democrat judge and officials. It's internal, and it is. And I can show you on the screen here where it is. It's right there. It's in that county right there. If you can see it, let me see if I can make this bigger. There it goes. I might have changed it a little bit. Okay, so here it is. Okay. And this is where this area, of course, this is the premium basin, uh, fuel theft. And then here is the other area. And this is right on the border. And so we know that these 15 uh, really poison pawns, were arrested, indicted right here. And this area right here, where this is all happening, is connected to Lisa Weiss in El Paso. She is connected to this area in El Paso. And right there in El Paso, the epicenter. So she is connected here, very close. It connects the Rio Grande Valley, the Jensen's fuel theft with El Paso. Okay, that's what it does. The Jensen's fuel theft, which is huge, with El Paso. And that's like huge breaking news because, she's been already sued for tampering with election, with Veronica Escobar. They were sued. And so now it's all going to come out, what's been going on in El Paso and in that Rio Grande area, which is a major cartel fuel theft huachicol area. And that was proven by the arrest of the Jensens, that were stealing Mexican fuel and bringing it over to the United States. I think so. I think that's what they were doing. And then his son Maxwell was stealing American fuel and then putting it in big tanks for distribution. Now, was that distributed in Chihuahua? Because I just wonder if Alejandra de la Vega Foster, if her gas stations were selling that stolen fuel. It's just a question, right? And it's a good question. So, okay, and Yeah, I got the letter, that I posted from President Trump, the first letter that we received, that's getting a lot of shares, a lot of comments, a lot of, um, views, and so I just wanna thank everybody for that because that is how we're going to really get Richard's remains repatriated, is to bring attention to Richard's case over and over again. And so that's why you see Joe Moody risking everything to, and I can show you the letter from President Trump that I'm talking about. There it is. This is the letter that I'm talking about, and it's done really well. And I just want to thank everybody for that because it really does. It's a huge step forward in the repatriation of our son's remains. The bigger the numbers, the better. So, and then of course, Moody up here is trying to slow it down. He's doing the damage. He's the one that's doing all the damage with Maru Campos and all that. I mean, putting forth this false narrative, you see, he's just trying to divert everyone's attention away from, the Mayellas, and everything else that went with that, the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting, because it would then lead to the fraudulent distribution of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds, which was held by Westar Bank, and that's who he's lying for. He's lying for Westar Bank. So, I think that that is huge news, for today, and, just something to absolutely chew on, that it seems like, if it seems to you that it's the same people over and over again that's causing all the trouble, that it's this, protecting this fuel theft network, this cartel network, this FTO, network that is stealing fuel, in every direction, right? Huachicol fiscal, and by train, by water tanker, by uh, trucks with those other plastic tanks. I mean, I've been looking at the news on both sides of the border, and there is fuel theft everywhere, tapping in. Um, you name it. But I don't want to lose focus that the fuel theft, yes, that is what is being protected, but it is also what is causing, and in the domino effect, all of the trafficking, the child trafficking, the um, arms trafficking, the drug trafficking, and of course, the money laundering and embezzlement and everything that goes along, anything criminal. Uh, it is really, if we can stop the fuel theft, we will absolutely stop many other crimes, so many other crimes, because those are spin-offs from the fuel theft, the child trafficking, the child pornography, um, the all the drug trafficking. Everything is a spin-off from that, to bring and compromise people, and if they're not compromised, to compromise them, so that everybody is just criminal, so that they can get rich off of stolen fuel. I mean, and live, in $9 million mansions and, whatever, and other properties and stuff. This is, it really now makes a lot of sense what they were protecting and why they were allowing all of the trafficking, right? Not only allowing it, but facilitating the trafficking and all the other crime on Fort Bliss, in El Paso, in Chihuahua, Mexico, and beyond that, and even beyond that, that they wanted people to be brought down so that they could not become whistleblowers. And, it's just, it all makes sense now what they were, what their playbook was. So, and playbook is. And so I hope that that helps when you review what President Trump is doing, because all of this money has to flow through finances. And he is absolutely with the Secretary of Treasury, Besant, um, really playing this war out against the cartel terroristic organizations through the financing of all their illicit gains, all of their theft, everything. It's really, you see that. And of course, that flows through Iran, through the gambling. We learned that last night. Um, they use crypto money. They use, what is that coin? The stable coin, or I think that that's part of the fight against it. I wish I understood all of it much, much more, all of the finances, the manipulation through the financing and through the gambling that they do. But what's important is that they leave a trail. They leave a trail because they're trying to clean their money, their illicit gains. And that is being followed, and that is being turned off. The spigot is being turned off of these illicit gains. And you saw that the Japanese carry trade, which I've known that that's been going on for a long time, was a big part of this. And you saw Secretary Besant's move with the Japanese carry trade, with the yen and that. And that tells you, I mean, he just devastated their portfolio, devastated it. And so they're going to be coming out, and I've heard that that's why some of these fires are being lit, because of course you have to overlay. Remember that they were causing all kinds of riots during 2020, even. And when you overlaid them, they were all of the inner city tax. Um, what was it called for President Trump? But he was giving them tax breaks to have businesses in the inner city, and they did not want those inner cities to do well. They didn't want these small businesses to have these tax breaks and to do well, right? They want to compromise and make everyone's life miserable so that they could, get away with all of their trafficking funds and their fuel theft, their huachicol fiscal, and all of that. So they just don't want other people doing well, because if they do well and they succeed, then especially legally, then they're going to value their freedom and value their country and want to support it and want to be patriots, and not want criminals stealing fuel and trafficking children and drugs and all of the stuff that makes the world a miserable place. So, yeah, they just uh, uh, you have to overlay where they're attacking. And now there's all these fires being lit. It's arson. It's not global warming like they said, because they've already made the arrest. That's not me speaking. That's the news. They've already made the arrest. And now they're just thinking what kind of who is really funding and really doing these major fires. So we have to really watch out for that and be vigilant, because when you turn off the spigots of their funding and destroy their portfolios, their financial portfolios, which is, I mean, President Trump is hitting them pretty hard, and he's not, of course. Um, doing what they want with Iran. It tells you that he's doing something else, right? That Iran is not really who he's fighting. It really is these terroristic organizations, these globalist, specially designated globalist terror organizations that he is trying to weed out. And you would think that there's a lot of them, but, believe it or not, they're not as many as you think. It's just that they affect so many other people, right? So many other lives that you almost have no choice but to, play their game. But, President Trump is, changing everything. He's turning over the tables, totally turning over the tables on them. And so that, uh, you know those that need accountability, I mean, it's just it's so difficult, but if you're in President Trump's situation and he has access to that intelligence that he's keeping a very tight rein on, you see much fewer leaks going on now than ever before. And we're getting um, special information to share with everybody, but not leaks. But not leaks. We're getting hard evidence to share with everybody, and just um, just to know that not everything is as they say in the media, just like these fires, they were never from global warming, right? They were arson. And just like the Walmart mass shooting, it was never about white supremacy. It was a political move, attack to protect the terroristic globalist organization and all of their criminality. So yeah, so you see the narrative out there is um is not honest with you, is not honest with us, and the whole Iran thing, um this gateway into China, the money, who controls the money there in Iran. It's kind of like Lebanon. You would think it's Lebanon that controls Lebanon, but no, it's always been Great Britain, right? Or the city of London. And so, not everything is as seen. You have to kind of look under the cover. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You have to look behind the curtain to see. And so, that's what we've been doing in our son's case. Um, and of course, it turns out to be a code red that was ordered by his platoon leader, Dallas Hart. And with those connections with the terroristic organization that runs this whole trafficking and fuel theft um, uh, pipeline and corridor um, between Mexico and the United States there in El Paso, and uses Fort Bliss, right? And exploits everything, right? Exploits everything to traffic everything, and to compromise and to make people miserable and afraid so that they can't whistleblow or be witnesses to their criminality. So thank you so much. And and please share all of the information that we're giving out. and we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you.